The past year has brought many challenges and opportunities for Washington State PTA, the largest and one of the oldest volunteer organizations in the state of Washington. Through the hard work and commitment of you, our members, we can truly build on our accomplishments of the last year and truly build a brighter future together.
Washington State PTA has remained committed to the health, welfare, and education of children and youth throughout this year's difficult economic climate and continues to be seen as a powerful voice for children in the state. Washington State PTA leaders have courageously worked to keep the legislature on track to implement the basic education funding and reform legislation, which passed during last year's legislative session. Additionally, this year, the Washington State PTA focused on expanding leadership training opportunities and resources and helping PTAs reach out to the underrepresented members of their communities, while carefully maintaining cost-effective practices with the organization's resources.
A new conference sponsored by the Washington State PTA this year was the Emerging Minority Leaders Conference held in August. More than 130 parents, teachers, and community leaders came together with the goal of identifying barriers that minority parents encounter in trying to advocate for their children and to identify what actions PTAs and PTSAs can take to help break down those barriers.
Immediately following the Emerging Minority Leaders Conference, Washington State PTA held its annual leadership conference. PTA leaders from around the state attended this conference and heard from special guest speaker Betsy Landers, National PTA's president-elect. She recognized the 2009 Leadership Academy honorees and attended various newly offered leadership classes, including Professional Polished Presentations, How to Talk PTA, Get Organized Now, and Becoming a Stronger Advocate.
In the fall, the Washington State PTA held at least one PTA in the Law workshop in every region of the state, with multiple sessions in many areas. Region conferences held in the fall, winter, and spring also offered many learning opportunities for PTA leaders. The Washington State PTA Leadership Committee worked to offer an advanced level of classes to be offered in addition to our standard classes at the region conferences, the Leadership Conference, and Convention. Additionally, leadership publications such as the President's Guide, Leadership Guide, Membership Guide, Money Matters, Advocacy Guide, and the Secretary's Book underwent their annual review and update.
In October, the Washington State PTA hosted its annual Legislative Assembly. PTA delegates from around the state voted to amend 2 of the top 5 priority issues on the Washington State PTA's 2-year platform. Both the basic education funding issue and the teacher compensation issues were amended to reflect the legislative work that had been accomplished during the previous legislative session, and to encourage legislators to begin implementing the changes to our education system called for in House Bill 2261. Additionally, delegates voted to add support for music and arts education and increased funding and support for highly capable students to the Washington State PTA's legislative platform.
This year at Legislative Assembly, delegates were able to take advantage of added education sessions as well. The Washington State PTA provided a dual track of classes, providing learning opportunities to those new to the PTA legislative program and those who are at a more advanced level in their advocacy experience. The Washington State PTA continues to establish many partners and is represented on many committees, task force, and advisory panels to coordinate efforts for children and families in their state, including the Coalition to Reduce Underage Drinking, the Education Ombudsman Parent Advisory, Excellent Schools Now, the Gangs in Schools Task Force, the Gifted Education Advisory, the Learning First Alliance, Network for Excellence in Washington State Schools, the Rebuilding of Our Economic Future Coalition, and the Safety Advisory.
Focus Day was held on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, which provided the opportunity for children as well as parents to participate in this important day of advocacy. Co-chairs John Stokes and Stacy Riley organized this successful event, which drew approximately 1,000 members and students. Attendees were able to hear from Governor Gregoire and members of the Quality Education Commission, as well as participate in a highly visible and energetic rally on the Capitol steps, which captured the attention of legislators, the media, and the public.
During the legislative session, the Washington State PTA maintained a daily presence in Olympia, worked collaboratively with other organizations, met frequently with key legislators, and testified on issues of importance to PTA's mission for children. The Washington State PTA provided up-to-date legislative information through our listservs, the advocacy webpage, and the Legislative Action Center, which allows PTA members to immediately contact the governor and legislators via email.
This year, Washington State PTA has not yet achieved its goal of 153,000 members, but we continue to encourage our leaders to recruit new members. With more than 144,000 members statewide, Washington State PTA retains its title as the largest volunteer association in the state. Acting on the authorization granted by last year's convention delegates, Washington State PTA has created a non-voting Friends of PTA membership for those who wish to maintain a connection with PTA without actively participating. While the initial enrollment has been small, we believe that this will provide an additional source of support for Washington State PTA as it builds into the future.
In May, the Washington State PTA hosts its annual convention. Delegates from around the state hear inspiring keynote presentations, vote on Washington State PTA business, attend leadership classes, network with other PTA leaders from around the state, recognize some wonderful achievements by PTA units, and celebrate some of the Washington State PTA's most successful programs.
The National PTA Reflections Art Program celebrated its 40th anniversary this year with the theme Beauty Is. More than 16,800 works were created in the categories of visual art, photography, literature, choreography, music composition, and film by students from Washington State as part of this program. The Washington State PTA will honor 156 students as finalists in the Reflections Art Ceremony to be held on the final day of the Washington State PTA Convention. Additionally, 24 Outstanding Interpretation Award entries were forwarded to National PTA to compete with students from around the nation, including American International Schools. All award-winning entries will be on display at the Washington State PTA Convention. Another successful program, PTA Men Partners in Making a Difference, encouraged students to write essays about how male role models affect their lives. 4 grand prize winners were selected out of 300 entries and will be recognized at the Washington State PTA Convention.
Throughout the 2009-2010 year, the Washington State PTA made every effort to align resources with its mission for children and youth. The Washington State PTA staff serves PTA members by assisting local units daily with their charitable solicitations and IRS filings, answering questions regarding PTA operational procedures, filling orders for publications, awards and resources, and supporting Washington State PTA programs and volunteer leaders by developing and distributing information, fielding phone calls, sending correspondence, and coordinating arrangements with vendors and facilities.
One of the cost-effective practices used by the Washington State PTA is the utilization of listservs to communicate with PTA leaders. When appropriate, we are now conducting more business by conference call in order to reduce the need for travel and other meeting costs. In addition, the monthly parent involvement magazine, The Child Advocate, which used to be printed and mailed to a limited number of recipients, is now found online on the Washington State PTA website. The website and the member-only website is updated almost daily and provides an easy and effective way to download information and resources requested by PTAs around the state.
The Washington State PTA encourages members to take advantage of the various leadership opportunities available to them, and to make a well-planned effort to reach out to every parent, guardian, and member of their school community for the 2010-2011 school year. All individuals within every school community need to know that there is a place for them in the PTA. After all, by welcoming every parent to join us in our work, we can fulfill our vision, making every child's potential a reality.